So students, during the last lecture, we had an introduction on solar energy being used to generate electric energy, right? We saw that solar energy can be converted into electrical energy by two ways. One is solar energy can be converted directly into electrical energy by using a solar cell. The other method is solar energy would be converted into thermal energy or heat energy, and that heat energy will be used to heat water to generate steam, and the kinetic energy of the steam will use to run turbines which will drive generators to produce electricity. So today we will have a look at how solar energy is used to produce electrical energy directly with the help of solar cells, or we also call them as solar photovoltaic cells. Now, what are solar or photovoltaic cells? Solar or photovoltaic cells are devices that convert solar energy directly into electrical energy, and that effect of converting solar energy into electrical energy directly is called as solar photovoltaic effect. Solar stands for sun, photo for light, and voltaic for electric. So with the help of sunlight, you are generating electrical energy directly. That's called as solar photovoltaic effect. Now, I told you in the last lecture that these solar cells are mainly made up of silicon. See, it is made from silica. It is manufactured from silica. Silica is the next most widely distributed element in nature after oxygen, right? It's very widely distributed. In the desert sands, you can find a lot of silica. So this silica is subjected to a process, and they make silicon out of them. Then chips, thin layers of silicon are used to make these solar cells. In fact, a single solar cell would consist of two layers of silicon, one placed over the other in the form of a sandwich. The one of the layer would be negatively charged, normally the upper layer exposed to sun, and the lower layer will be positively charged, okay, and that's the lower layer. So the upper layer contains a lot of free electrons, whereas the lower layer is deficient in electrons, and this is done by a process. The process is not discussed in your syllabus. It is not in the scope of your syllabus, so I am leaving it out right now. For now, I'll only make you understand in brief how these silicon chips, when exposed to sunlight, how they generate electrical energy, right? So today let's focus our attention on the process by which electrical energy can be generated using these solar cells. So here we now have a look at how a solar cell converts solar radiation, that is the sunlight or energy of the sunlight, into electrical energy. So what you are seeing there is a typical solar cell. A solar cell is made up of two layers, as I told you. A thin N-type layer which is exposed towards the sun. This N-type layer is the negative layer. It's negatively charged as it contains a lot of free electrons, and below it you have placed, there's a P-type layer which is thicker than the N-type layer, and this P-type is positively charged because all its atoms are deficient in electrons. We call these P-type layers in solar terms, or in scientific terms they are called as holes. Those atoms which are deficient in electrons are called as holes. Now, when sunlight is incident on the N-type layer, the photons present in the sun rays transfer their energy to the free electrons, as a result of which the free electrons get activated and they start moving from the N-type layer towards the holes in the P-type layer. Thereby, a flow of electrons begins from the N-type layer through the wire towards the P-type layer. generating electric current. In the process, you can see the bulb lighting up. So now you know how solar energy gets converted directly into electrical energy with the help of a solar cell. See, a solar cell which has typically an area of 1 square centimeter develops a potential difference of 0.5 volt and a current of 30 milliampere. Now the potential difference does not depend upon the area of the solar cell, it is going to be the same. Now supposing we take a solar cell of 100 square centimeter area, then the potential difference is going to be the same, 0.5 volt, but the current generated will be 100 times more. So you multiply 30 milliampere by 100, you get 3000 milliampere. 3000 milliampere converted into ampere, you divide by 1000 because 1000 milliampere makes 1 ampere. So 3000 milliampere translates into 3 ampere. So you can see that a single solar cell of 100 square centimeter can generate an electric current of 3 ampere. So now we will see if we can connect solar cells to each other in different ways, how we can commercially produce electric energy on a large scale. So having learnt how solar cells convert solar energy or sunlight directly into electrical energy, we will now learn what happens when solar cells are combined in a series arrangement and what is going to be the effect on the potential difference and the current generated. So we will study what happens to the potential difference and the current when solar cells are connected in series and when they are connected in parallel. So what you are seeing right now is an arrangement of two solar cells, let us say having an area of 100 square centimeters. Both these solar cells, cell 1 and cell 2, are arranged in series. Now when they are arranged in series, here you can see the potential difference across the cell 1 is V1 and the potential difference across the cell 2 is V2, right? So the total potential difference across the entire circuit along with these two cells is given by the sum V1 plus V2, that is the total potential difference V across the entire circuit is nothing but the addition of the potential differences across the two cells, right? Now the current but flowing, in case the cells are connected in series, the value of the current is going to be the same, right? So that means if I is the current flowing through the entire circuit, then the current flowing through cell 1 and cell 2 will also be I. So let us take, for example, we'll take numerical values so that you will understand better. All of us know that irrespective of the area of the solar cell, the potential difference generated across a solar cell is 0.5 volts, right? So you have 0.5 volts across cell 1, you have 0.5 volts across cell 2, right? Now we learned that when 100 square centimeter solar cell absorbs solar radiation, it generates a potential difference of 0.5 volts and a current of 3 amperes. I showed you how a current of 3 amperes is generated. So the current flowing through I1 will be 3 amperes and the current flowing through I2 will be 3 amperes. So also the current flowing through the entire circuit is going to be 3 amperes. That's why I said here I will be equal to I1 and I2 also. That means the current flowing through the entire circuit as well as the cells is going to have the same value, that is 3 amperes. So this is what happens when solar cells are connected in series. So let us see what will be the potential difference. The potential difference V will be equal to 0.5, that is V1, the potential difference across the cell 1, so 0.5 plus 0.5 which is across V2, so the total potential difference across the combination will be 1 volt, but the current will be only 3 amperes, right? Now let us see what happens when these two cells are connected in parallel, right? We'll have a look at what happens when they are connected in parallel. So now we look at the same two cells. Let us say we have connected them in parallel. So this is the parallel arrangement. Last year you have seen how resistors are connected in series and resistors are connected in parallel, right? So now the cell C1 and cell 2, that is cell 1 and cell 2 are connected in parallel. The potential difference across cell 1 is V1, the potential difference across cell 2 is V2, and the potential difference across the entire circuit is V. So you will find that V is equal to V1 is equal to V2. That means the potential difference across the two cells V1 and V2 are the same, and the potential difference across the entire circuit, that is V, is also the same. So the potential difference does not add up when you connect the cells or solar cells in parallel, but the current of the two, the current generated in the two solar cells add up when they are connected in parallel. So you can see if I1 is the current flowing through the cell 1 and if I2 is the current generated in cell 2, then the total current of the entire circuit I is given by the sum of I1 and I2, that is I is equal to I1 is 3 amperes, I2 is 3 amperes. You know that a solar cell of area 100 square centimeter generates a current of 3 ampere. So the total current obtained when the two solar cells are connected in parallel is going to be 6 amperes. So you saw the difference when cells are connected, when the solar cells are connected in series. When the solar cells are connected in series, the potential difference is equal to the sum of the potential differences across the cell 1 and the cell 2, and the current is the same. But when the same cells are connected in parallel, the potential difference is going to be the same, but the current will be the sum of the currents flowing through the cell 1 and the cell 2, that is I will be equal to 3 amperes plus 3 amperes, that is going to be equal to 6 amperes, right? So here it is 3 amperes plus 3 amperes, so 6 amperes. So students, by now you have got a clear idea what happens to the potential difference and the current generated when solar cells are connected in series and when they are connected in parallel. So using this knowledge, we will understand how solar panels are created. So our focus on in the next lecture is going to be to see how solar cells are combined to make solar panels and how solar panels are then combined to generate electrical energy on a large scale. Till then, students, study regularly, take care, stay safe, and thanks a lot. Bye.